this week's State of Real Estate with me, Charan Bajwa, licensed real estate broker with RE/MAX 1. Today is June 15th, and we are recovering from a deadly pandemic amidst a raging civil unrest against racism, in the middle of an official recession as announced by the National Bureau of Economic Research last week. But there is something going right also amidst all this chaos. The recovery in the housing market and the slowdown in unemployment, both major factors contributing to our economy. Mortgage rates last week set another all-time record low, falling below 3%. In addition, the Federal Reserve last week announced that it would leave interest rates near zero through 2022. It is encouraging to know that the Fed is demonstrating a strong commitment to do what it takes for the labor markets and the economy to recover as quickly as possible. The Fed is projecting a 6.5% decline for GDP for 2020, but they also predict a strong bounce back next year at a 5% increase. Housing, being a fundamental part of the economy, is receiving the focus it deserves. Securely employed buyers do not want to miss on the record low mortgage rates. Home prices are surging with a year-over-year increase of almost 5% back to their pre-COVID numbers, or even higher in some situations, with inventory still very tight. Realtor.com reported 25% lesser homes in the market last week compared to the same time last year. According to the Mortgage Bankers Association, mortgage applications for purchase rose again and are currently 19% higher than last year. They also rose 15% from the week earlier. Purchases increased for the 8th straight week. As per Mayer's research, first-time buyers are dominating the purchases, while 55-plus, luxury, and investor segments are also improving, but at a much slower pace. New construction homes also are faring well, with the number of contracts 50% higher than 3 weeks ago. National Association of Realtors survey last week showed that number of properties going under contract rose for the first time since the pandemic hit us. Number of new properties coming on the market was still 15% lesser on a year-over-year basis. Fannie Mae's Home Purchase Sentiment Index increased 4.5 points in May after hitting a 10-year low in April, and year-over-year it is still down by 24.5 points. This increase in consumer sentiment, along with the unexpectedly favorable labor market report last week, are extremely encouraging signs for the near future. Fannie Mae also reported that 52% of Americans believe it's a good time to buy a home right now. However, only 32% believe it's a good time to sell, signs of an ongoing tight supply of homes. The Fed's expectations for unemployment rates is 9.3% by the year end, which was forecasted to be at a mere 3.5% pre-COVID. So that's a huge rise from the pre-pandemic time. However, it is still an improvement from the skyrocketing 14.7% that we hit at the peak of the pandemic in April. Fed also expects the unemployment rates to gradually reduce to 5.5% in 2022. Meanwhile, the Federal Housing Finance Agency is extending their special provisions on financing because of COVID-19 to July 31st at this time. It is permitted to conduct alternative methods for appraisals and employment verifications, remote online notarizations and closings, plus the authority to purchase mortgage and forbearance up until July 31st at this time. As per the Mortgage Bankers Association, more than 8% of mortgages are currently in forbearance, and this number could lead to a surge in foreclosures once the moratoriums end. However, we are hoping that the improving unemployment will contribute to lesser foreclosures than forecasted in the near future. The current real estate market in most of New Jersey is extremely competitive, and we are receiving multiple offers on most of our listings, especially in the first-time home buyer range. And if you are confused or losing out on a home because of other strong bidders, be sure to watch my Realty Bites podcast on my YouTube channel to learn how to come out as a strong buyer in a multiple offer situation. Showings in New Jersey are currently 15.5% higher than the pre-pandemic peak, as per the Showing Time platform. Not only that, this number is 22.5% higher than the same time last year. again attributed to the tight supply and the record-breaking mortgage rates that the buyers are trying to take advantage of. Even though the real estate industry has demonstrated a V-shaped quick recovery, we must acknowledge that the broader economy is still in doldrums, and it is important that recoveries in other sectors initiate and progress quickly as well. There are still ample uncertainties, and it will remain to be seen how other sectors bounce back and how severe the impact of a returning bout of coronavirus could be. We are hearing a wide range of expert forecasts on home prices, from a negative 10% to a positive 5.5% for the year. And of course, this is because of all the uncertainties in our environment right now. The possible reemergence of the coronavirus, the civil unrest, the unemployment rates, the status of the overall economy, and so on. If we have learned anything from the last 3 months, it is that anything can happen. There is so much of the unforeseen and the unpredictable. All we can strive for is to deal with these situations the best we can when they happen, with a good head on our shoulders and with some financial cushion at all times. Before I end today's State of Real Estate, I would not only like to express RE/MAX One's continued solidarity against discrimination once again, but also give a shout out to all law and enforcement officials who have dedicated themselves to our safety and protection, no matter what our color is. Love and peace, not hatred and violence, are the catalysts for any change. In most industries, including real estate, it is illegal to discriminate based on race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, or national origin. The United States is one of the most diverse nations in the world. Let us all contribute towards making it more inclusive and strengthening our social fabric. Hope you find this show, The State of Real Estate, useful and relevant in assisting you with your real estate decisions. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to spread awareness and educate you about one of the biggest financial investments in your lives. If you would like more in-depth information about what's happening in your local area, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact information will appear at the end of this podcast. Talk to you next week.